Foresight Scrolls Channel, where we use the Foresight Suite of indicators to examine charts, look for trade setups on stocks, indices, crypto, commodities, so on and so forth. If you happen to be check out the channel and you're here while I'm streaming, please feel free to drop something in the chat. You can always ask for something that you want me to take a look at, or just let me know what your thoughts are. Today, normally we take a look at a few different things each day, at least for the near future. We're taking a look at the S&P 500, the SPY, which is the ETF that tracks the S&P. Because we've been doing this since this dump out last Friday. This is actually when we launched a few Fridays back, so it's almost 3 weeks, 3 weeks from tomorrow. And since then, we can see that we've, for forever back since March, we've been in this up channel, which is really unusual. And we see during that dump out, we broke that channel, and we have yet to climb back inside it. So the fact that we're making this bear flag, it's this really extended bear flag. We see volume is this is dropping off a little bit maybe, but we see this extended bear flag, or really. You know, I haven't seen this before, but really at this point we're creating this up channel, it almost looks like. But the thing we need to notice is, when it comes to Foresight, is that we continue to be, the epoch continues to be the support. The thing is stuck between the epoch and this up channel. So we see how technical analysis marries the indicator right here. So how strong both actually are. And as of today, we see we tried to press up again. We just couldn't break above this up channel again, so it just keeps rejecting it. So the question is, who's going to break first, the up channel or the epoch? If the epoch breaks, we will get one of our oblivion signals, most likely, which will tell us that we are headed to the downside, significantly, most likely. And we expect to see probably a bounce off of our echo of time here. That's one of our indicators in the suite. It's the formula that's constantly recalculating, so this line moves depending on past price action. Maybe a bounce into that, and as our trend rolls over here, maybe a bounce into that, and then a retest of the trend. There's always a chance this thing breaks back into the channel. There's always that chance. It's been a super weird year. I haven't been around for a really, really long time, but long enough to know that it's been a really weird year, and it looks like an incredible amount of market manipulation. So let's move on. Take a look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin, this is on the 4 hour. Let's take a look at the daily. Over the past several shows, we've taken a look at how Bitcoin was in this. I'm not drawing. I'm being too quick in my draw here, but we've seen. I really should slow down, show everybody what I'm talking about. We've seen Bitcoin be in this head and shoulders pattern, which it broke down from and retested. Still nothing to really see here. We're still just chopping sideways. We've retested the backside of it. Would not surprise me if we push up into it again. The really cool thing to point out here too is how we've had premonitions that called all three tops of this head and shoulders, which is, proof is in the pudding. We're currently getting a long spell here. We'll see, how that plays out. I don't know. I mean, we have our trend rolling over here. We've already had the epoch cross the trend, which is normally a sign for further downside. For instance, you can see we cross right here. We get a little bit further downside. Here we may have gotten a cross, but it just sort of like sticks in the middle for a while. But once it comes out the back side, you see we pump. This is the real utility of our trend, maybe versus some other trends out there. And if we just take a look at it, let's take a look at it without these other things on. Let me get rid of this. If you're playing this trend only, you can see you can long the trend, you can short the trend, and it gives you a good indication based on which side of the trend the epoch is on, which direction that we're going. So that's it for Bitcoin right now. We're just waiting to see if it tries to push up. My guess is at some point it's just gonna, it's just pinching like the S&P is at this point. And we're going to see probably a push down to here. Little TA for you. You can see there's a local, not a local low, but there's a low back here. And there's this long uptrend from the previous high before all of this consolidation or selling. This is probably just selling pressure. My guess is this is selling. We're going to break to the downside. But again, I mean, that's just, it's anybody's game. It always is. The charts tell you, people don't. So what I think is going to happen really doesn't matter. We just play the charts, play the Foresight indicators. Let's move on. We haven't taken a look at Tesla, I don't think, yet in this whole time. So we're looking at Tesla on the daily. We follow this back a little ways. We see we get a long spell. Can't quite grab it. We bounce here. Go up again, come back. We sort of bounce on the wave of eons here. And you can see, as we were talking about on Bitcoin, we have the epoch clearly under the wave. And so we think we're pushing up at this point. You see we come up and we tag. Now, to be fair, this particular line right here at the time may not have been there, but you can see just some quick TA that we're at a local top here. Once it broke that, not only were we in a strong trend based on our trend indicator right here, but TA was showing us up as well. Since then, we've been printing some short spells, and you can see it's trying to press down. It got below the epoch today. You can see the epoch's closing in here on the wave of eon. And so just like with everything else in the market right now, it's sort of a waiting game at the moment to see which direction this guy wants to break. And if, in some sense, like, you could make the argument that it's always a waiting game, but you can see once we broke here and retested, then how things go after that. Then we're just sort of like falling until we can catch some sort of major support. You can see back here on there was consolidation here. That was our last area of consolidation, and that's where we got the support. So that's it on Tesla. Let's take a look at the 4 hour, since we're not a lot's going on today. A little sideways action. So yeah, on the 4 hour, just pinching. Just sideways chop, and we're pinching. Let's look at NVIDIA. Oh yeah, perfect. So this is on the daily on NVIDIA, and you can see if we drop to the 4 hour, I've got the Genesis and Oblivion crosses on here, and those track some, not only close on a particular side of the epoch, but also some confluence with some other things. And you can see how we've sort of snapped back here. So we've got the Genesis, but then the Oblivion cross. But here's the thing that we need to really pay attention to, what's happening here. And remember, we're on the 4 hour. But we've already seen, when we drop below the daily time frame, we get this extra line we call the present moment. So it's this thin one right here. And we've already seen it cross. We're seeing the wave of eon sort of bend over and the epoch moving up. So we have, notice we have the wave of eon, the purple trend here pointing down, the epoch pointing up. We're getting this serious pinching right here. So this is the fight. We've had an Oblivion signal here. Let's go out to the daily and look what's happening. You see that the wave bending over. And so you see this push up and it closed. And again, these are Heiken Shis, candles. So what you're seeing here is the average of the candle during the time that it's open. So that's where this candle stops. and we're stopping right under it. So tomorrow, my guess is like this would take, if this continued in its current trajectory, 1, 2, 3, 4, and again, these, this is a stock, so it's only trading Monday through Friday. So it could be another week or so before this thing were to actually able to cross the wave of Eon. But still, we could sometime next week, if it stays under it, we could get the oblivion signal. This thing right here, a dump out, and then a retest of the wave, and that's how we would know. Number one, we could short off of an oblivion signal. If we saw this getting rejected, in the next few days, next week, we could short that, and then look for another shorting opportunity as it tested this wave when it was rolling over. And that's just one indicator. We're not even talking about how we might see any particular foresight or mystic spells here. By the way, these gray arrows here, and there is a major update coming to the Mystic we're super excited about. Hopefully we'll have it within a week or so. You can see here, these print, and they I didn't even notice this before, but they print at the very, very top, the tippy top. Then on the next bar, we get a short spell. And these guys right here just named this downtrend. Granted, you wouldn't get in at the very top, but that's almost a 10% fall on a stock, which is wild. Say you got in here and say you just got there down to the epoch on a stock at roughly 4.5%. It's a great move. So that's another win for the Foresight indicators. Before I go on, if you're interested in the indicators, just check out the Discord. Just check out what's going on over there. And then you can also go to ForesightScrolls.com. That's where you can get access to the indicators. Right now, since we just launched a few weeks ago, we're actually inviting people in, to get some temporary access just to help us build this thing out and really give it a good, thorough testing. We technically have beta tested these things, but we really want to give it a good, thorough testing at this point, even though we're currently trading with it and making lots of successful trades with it. We built it for ourselves in the beginning. Over time, it just became a bit of a passion project, and it was clear that other people would think that this would be useful, and that's how it turned into its current version. We would love to have you as a part of it, and additionally, part of the spirit of the whole thing, not that we're the only ones doing this, but a part of the spirit of the whole thing is that we give, we're philanthropic in some way, that we're giving back anything that we win, we're giving some portion of that, and we try to encourage people to do that too. All right, one last thing, let's take a look at Tron, or TRX. This is one of the originals right here. So once we have Bitcoin and Ethereum, you had this sort of collection of coins that came out on the heels of those. XRP most notably, as it's a little different, but Tron came out, ADA came out, and so on and so forth, Chainlink, and Tron's done the damn thing. They've been around. They've survived this entire time. And one of the things I wanted to point out, and this is something I personally like to do, I personally like to trade the 55-minute, not for any particular reason other than, it's a Fibonacci number, and it's just a little off from the normal cadence of time frames. One thing I wanted to show here was that we fell, and we got a premonition here, a little bump. Remember, normally you want to think about taking profits on the time frame that you enter. So normally you don't enter on a 55-minute thinking about taking profit on a daily time frame where it's gone up 15% or something on the daily. You're just thinking about the small bounce. So Right here, it went up like 0.5% or so. Now we've come back down. What I wanted to point out here is currently, and this is not in stone by any means, but currently we've had this premonition. Now we've made this little bounce and right back down into our echo of time right here. So it's our support. We're at our support. We see the mystic starting to flatten out. But I brought up the RSI, which I don't normally do. But this is just another way you can see how the Foresight indicator is working alongside of some traditional things. And currently, if this were to hold, like if that our echo of time were to hold right here, then we would have completed an RSI divergence, and most likely you're going to see bounce to the upside. We'll see how that plays out. Smaller time frames are weaker, so this could more easily break down than, say, if we were on a daily time frame and it were into a support. If that's something that's a learning point for you, that's a good one to know, is that the bigger the time frame, so 4 hours stronger than a 15-minute, a daily stronger than a 4 hour, but the moves are also bigger. And the trade-off is that the bigger you go, the slower they are. So on a daily time frame, you may be waiting 2 weeks, whereas a 4 hour, you may be waiting, 3 days, for 3 or 4 days for something to play out. In a 15-minute, you may be waiting, 8 hours, 12 hours for something to work out in your favor. But, the thing that most people get trapped in is they go for lower time frames because they want to be trading constantly, because they think that means more money. And that puts you in a couple of worse positions, actually. It's not that you can't trade on lower time frames, just know what you're trading with and on. Trading on a lower time frame, you shouldn't be using, well, it's not advice, but generally speaking, people do this. You shouldn't be using as much capital, and you should realize that the indications and the signals and the TA is often weaker. It's not that it doesn't work out, but it's just it's not as strong as it would be on a larger time frame, simply because there's more time and more capital on those larger time frames that allow things to move more clearly. You can think about it like this: is since it's moving so slow, it's easier to see the direction, and more people believe in the direction because more people see the direction. On a lower time frame, there's less capital involved, so there's less money on the books pushing it in one way or the other, and all it takes is for some big order to be placed to really push it in one direction or another. On a daily time frame, they can't do it. The same big order wouldn't move it as it would on a lower time frame. So I guess that's all for today. And if you're watching this in the future and you're curious about Foresight Scrolls, you can also email us at useforesight@gmail.com. You can join the Discord. The Discord's free. There's signals there, but those are for people that own the indicators as well. But you can also see people post charts. You can ask questions, and that sort of a thing. It's wide open as far as that goes. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for checking us out.